Hi guys, what's going on? And welcome back to an episode of Total War Arena. So we are back with the final unit in the Wargaming Versatility bundle, which are and this is probably the hardest one to pronounce,
Javelins!
they are the Martiobarbuli. Go with that. But they are effectively a Roman tier 5 Javelin unit. So yeah, how do they stack up? Overall, pretty well. Along with all these units in these bundles have been round about on par with their Tetri units I'm finding so far. And this one is really no exception. A couple of things change. In essence, their weapon damage, penetration damage is exactly the same, 64. As well as their sort of weapon damage, which is a little bit less on this unit compared to the Tetri unit, but overall not too bad. They do pretty well, I think, on the range, which is slightly longer. It's 55 there we saw for premium unit, yet it's only sort of 48 on the Tetri variant. So these premiums should slightly outrange the Tetri version. Now combined onto that, you'll see here that these premium units get the hurl ability, which gives sort of around, well, not around, it gives exactly a 35% missile weapon range increase, which when you already have quite a high range for javelins, it's actually going to be a pretty reasonable amount. I forget exactly what it's going to take up to, around 70, something like that probably. And it's going to fairly easily outrange the Tetri version at tier 5, which get dash instead. So that has its uses, you know, hurl in specific situations, like particularly fighting other javelins. If you've got some archers up on top of a cliff you just can't quite reach, that sort of thing. Being able to do that to get those volleys off a bit early is actually really quite useful. And particularly considering they've already got a good range, that's as to be expected. The only consequence of that is, of course, dash does really have its uses for trying to get away in sort of panic situations, and kind of combines well with Sulla's whip to give them quite a good movement speed. So I do find that I kind of miss dash quite a lot. And a lot of my games I've not found hurl to be hugely useful, but it certainly has its moments when it comes in and it's actually really handy. So I don't feel it's necessarily a negative. It kind of comes down to your playstyle and personal preference. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the consumables. So I'm running them here with Caltraps. And as you'll see in the battle, for whatever reason, I don't know why I did this radio around today, I decided to record the battle first, and I'm now recording this segment afterwards before we hop into the battle. Although it's a live battle replay, it's a live battle, not a replay. I run with Caltraps, but I completely forgot that I had a Caltrap, so I make no use of them at all in the battle. Because I've not played Javelins for a couple of months, and I just completely forgot they existed, in all honesty, so I didn't make use of them. But I'm seriously tempted to run these guys with Fletcher. You know, their weapon damage isn't that great. You know, Javelins underwent a bit of a nerf across the board, not just premiums or Tetri units, all of them. Well, one in the last patch and in the patch before that, they also got nerfs. They've been quite staggeringly reduced compared from their original capacities. So their penetration damage is 64, and your weapon damage is never going to exceed that. So you're always going to be doing around about 64 damage, and it's getting shots into the back of lighter armoured units. You know, it kind of isn't that great. I mean, it's still a pretty good damage pressure, but it's not amazing. You add on to another 6 onto that, so you get up to 70, that's pretty good. Plus you get the 8 missile weapon damage, which may bring the missile weapon damage, particularly at tier 5, and if you start to shoot at tier 4s, may bring the missile weapon damage sufficiently high that you're going to stand a chance to exceed body armour values and actually apply a bit of extra damage. So I'm seriously tempted to run with the Fletcher rather than the Caltraps, or maybe Fletchers on 2 and just run Caltraps on 1 unit. I don't know, I think that's something that I might have a play around with and see if that improves things a little bit, because I think that will probably be kind of an interesting combination. Other than that, the rest of the equipment is all very similar. These guys have a similar base movement speed. Obviously, Sulla gets his whip ability, which is pretty nice. Although at tier 5, it really leaves a lot to be desired in terms of the movement speed bonus, because you don't start to get all the proper movement speed bonuses up until you get to tier 6s and tier 7s, but it ramps up quite a bit more. So yeah, it's a little bit disappointing that Sulla's whip's only 16% movement speed on these units, which is a little bit disappointing. I think that's pretty much all there is to say about them. They certainly look pretty cool, and they obviously have really small little javelins. You can see they're more like darts, which is a bit different than the normal Roman javelin men. But anyway, let's hop into the battle that I have already recorded and see if it's a win or a lose. So we are loading into Oasis. Where am I going to go? Not a lot of choice. with our premium javelins. I am not going to try and pronounce the name because it is complicated. It's like Barla-Boutier or something like that. So we want to be staying with some friendly infantry. I am running them with Caltraps, so that's going to give us some element of protection. But you know, we're still going to be pretty vulnerable, to be honest, if we're not careful. So let's move over here. Get our prescription activated. We might as well always have that on the whole time. I'm going to probably move up with these Punic mercenaries. I'm also going to slightly adjust my laptop screen because I'm going to fall off the edge of the table. Oh, oh, oh. The green screen is now slightly out of focus, but otherwise it's going to keep rocking. So yes, let's keep moving up. I want to keep moving up with these Punic mercenaries. Looks like they're going to cut over this way, so I should do the same. Obviously, as I was saying earlier, these guys get a hurl over a dash. Which I don't think is anything to be sniffed at, because they get pretty decent range anyway out of these guys. Obviously, and a hurl is only going to make that better. So you get 35% range bonus, I think. Yeah, it's quite significant. So yeah, I think that's definitely not a bad thing to be deploying. I just want to stay in with these guys for protection. Are they? No, they're milty. So let's quickly get some javelins off. We can't get the front ones, we'll go for the back ones. On my mark. Let's go for the ones at the rear. Going to watch our back cavalry, that's the main thing we need to watch out for. Looks like we're pulling back, so let's get our hell out of here if we're going to have to do that. And then let's start to get some javelins into the back of these guys, where we should be able to hit them without causing too much friendly fire, I hope. Friendly cavalry, yes it is. Let's keep the fire on. We're going to focus fire to get some more safe shots into the back without causing too much damage. It looks like... Oh, wow. Okay, this is going to be a tough one. I need to run, unfortunately. Because otherwise I'm going to get trapped by these high-painted warriors. Oh, they are minius. No, they're Boudica, but they're going to have an awesome charge ability. So I'm going to watch out for those war dogs as well. Let's get these guys in the back. Now they've given themselves a bit of exposure. We'll use our hurl to keep range. But we've also got these war dogs coming us. So I'm conscious of these guys as well. A real tough one this is. We've got friendly cavalry here. Just trying to balance my options, you see. Oh, we've got war dogs coming. We'll get a volley in, but then let's pull back behind the friendly cav if we can. Go for a whip. Oh, those war dog hits were big. Hopefully that friendly cav is going to get stuck in, as I give me an option then to pull back sort of out the fight. I should have ran before the dogs. I stopped to throw a volley at them, which was silly. There's no need for me to do that. So let's try and get ourselves clear and start to assess our situation. If we can start to get some shots on these Iberians, I think that would be a good thing. These guys don't have any form of sort of protection in terms of missile block, so we should be able to get a good amount of damage on them. Let's go for one more volley, and then let's get our... Oh, we might have left that a bit late. No, it's not got a charge at the moment. Let's pull 2 units out this way, 1 unit up to the forest. Pull ourselves back towards our friendly units. Should be able to turn a unit on them. Oh no, don't do that. Stop. Okay, so let's push this unit up here. We have been split off from ourselves. We'll keep these units close. I think those Iberians are going to be dead pretty quickly though, so I don't think that's going to be a problem for us. We have got this enemy cavalry here in the middle who might make a viable target if we're careful. Let's see what we sort of balance. I don't think it's worth the sort of the risk. The amount of friendly fire we're causing is exceeding the amount of good we're doing. So I think we might as well pull out of that one. It's a really close battle still. So let's get ourselves back involved. We want to kind of keep getting this damage up. You know, this is what Javelins are for, really, is for that good damage potential. We are killing our allies. Okay, let's keep distance with these guys. They're going to charge. You know, we want to be keeping ourselves pulled back. Let's get our whip going. Start to pull back. Start to pull a bit of range. Looks like we're going to rout on one of our units actually because we've got a rear flank modifier. Doesn't really matter. Oh no, we go. We're going to hold. So we are being chased by some Iberian rebels up here. This is where kind of having a dash comes in handy, to be honest, in this sort of situation. Get a volley on those guys as they run. And let's focus some fire on these. Okay, we have got enemy cavalry, so let's get ourselves back. Let's pull this unit back. We've got some friendly spearmen here. We are going to take damage here now. That was a really good charge by those elite companions, and it's going to rout a lot of us. I don't know if we're really going to get away with that one. I was hoping I was going to clear this corner sufficiently that we'll be able to pull back to our guys up here. It looks like the spearmen aren't coming for us. One of our units go. Come on, Sulla, get yourself out. Okay, so one of our units managed to escape, but we took quite a lot of damage in that cavalry charge. Should have pulled that here. Should have spotted him when he started to come in, and maybe tried to pull back to safety a bit earlier. Probably pushing my luck a little bit too much. But I thought I could get away with it. Obviously, I couldn't. Let's start to get some volley fire into these guys. We've got enough ability to whip. We can whip ourselves. It's not too much of a problem. So let's start to pull back up this slope up here. See, this is where we're going to get screwed over again because the enemy cavalry is coming and I've got no one here who can possibly support me anymore. We'll try and sacrifice the smaller unit. But they are going for my bigger unit. They didn't get quite such a good charge at that time, thankfully. Pull back to this friendly cavalry over here. We're going to rout, but we will end up coming back. Oh, this is a tough one. Try and keep some damage up and pull back. Just trying to keep range. These guys are obviously back into combat. Looks like we're going to kill the enemy cavalry, which is obviously a good thing. And then it's a case of I don't know if we're going to be able to outrun these Iberian rebels. Not easily, I think, is the answer. We can get some shots this turn. It's kind of a case of balancing our two.
Focus your fire! Attack! We are firing on our allies.
Let's try and get some damage in. Look, come on, we still have a reasonable damage potential, despite our lost units. We're quite under strength. We still have quite good damage potential.
On my mark.
This is where an interesting one. Do we keep fighting now the cavalry are in? Let's just regroup ourselves back up. Well, actually, we don't want to regroup up too much. I'm kind of tempted to shoot. I don't want to cause the friendly fire, but I think our cavalry is going to be losing this fight. Let's go for it.
Hannibal has fought his last battle. Quickly!
We should. We're now chasing them. The tables have turned. They've gone for a determination and a forced march. But of course, that lowers their missile block ability. We should be able to get them there. One man left. Oh, we missed. Don't get caught out by him. Whew. Okay. So what's the situation? We've got one unit defending base. We've got a couple of cavalry left alive. Most of the enemies seem to be up at their base. So I think we're going to be wanting to probably push over this way to be looking to get to them. Thankfully, both of our units haven't entered the wavering state yet. This one must be pretty close to. Because once it does, then I can't use whip. Because if I whip myself, I'll rout. So that's always the risk. That's the problem with whip. This movement speed was really good up until it gets to the point where it gets too close and then I can't use it anymore. But for now, we can. So we're applying quite a good lot of damage with these guys. I do like the extra range that you get with them. Even when you're not using hurl, you don't need to use that all the time. Only when really probably fighting things like other javelins and stuff, or just trying to get the extra little bit of range you need to catch some archers, something like that. The range on these guys is actually really solid, which is what I like. In situations like those Iberian rebels, you can place yourself quite a good distance apart from them and in either end, and still get really good damage outputs. Obviously, which is what we like to see. Assuming these guys are going to try and flank these foot companions, it should, in principle, be a bad thing, but it might give us a good opportunity to get some damage in on them without causing too much friendly fire.
Mark your target.
We're getting a good amount of damage, not causing any friendly fire or not a significant amount of friendly fire. I think we've got to keep it up despite the risk for now. They're going to try and get me, I think. I think I can out-volley them. Well, they've got a testudo. I still think we'll do it. Yeah, okay, we did. Good. So let's start to get damage on these other guys. I don't think we're going to be able to pull this battle back. I think it's too far gone, but we are going to try. All we can do with these guys is sort of put out raw damage output. We're risking a bit of friendly fire, but I know. But this guy is doing an absolutely fantastic job of holding these guys up and providing me with an opportunity to get in the damage that I need to try and turn this battle around. Because we're going to try and keep the damage up on these guys. What else have we got? Some armoured legionaries. The enemy has provisionally got some cavalry left alive as well. Which is what's going to be a real killer for us. If that cavalry doesn't get involved, we can stand a serious chance of winning this. I've got to be careful to keep range, because obviously they do have a heavy infantry charge. If we get that wrong, that'll be a painful mistake to make. It looks like the enemy cavalry might be AFK. We could actually get away with this. Oh, we turned his back at the wrong time there. Let's finish that unit off if we can. Let me get some Javelins in these Armoured Legion, these tier 6, these higher tier units. As they try and pull back, go for a focus fire. Oh, if he keeps his back to me like that, then I can get some good shots on still. Because they're going to slam into his back, which is what we want. That's onto his front, so we're not going to get any damage up on that sort of situation. Now, what we're going to do, are we going to try and sneak round the gap? That is my question. I think I might try to be honest. We'll risk it. It was a bit of a risk because I've got to clear these Principes and get round back into the open because they're going to go for heavy infantry charge. Come on, Sulla. Oh, you hero. Okay, we made it. So, I'm now getting back around to this side. We've just got to pray that cavalry stays as being AFK, because if it does, then we stand a reasonable chance here. Oh, the cavalry has been a hero. He's obviously knocked the Testudo off these guys. So now we can get our damage in. We can do what we need to do. Hopefully his heavy infantry charge hasn't reloaded, and we should be able to get the final volley on. There we go. Good. So now we've just got these enemy armoured legionaries left to deal with. Guys are doing a pretty good job. Do I fire or do I not? Let's go for one volley and see what we do. Yeah, he's backing off. I think he's making the right move. I'll fire one more perhaps. And then let him. I'll let him finish off those last few guys. I don't want to end up doing more damage in friendly fire than I am doing otherwise. I think, yeah, it'd be better coming out of Phalanx. He might be able to get them to rout in that sort of sense. Let's make sure I've got my prescription back on. Actually, it had actually gone off. So if I activate prescription, that's going to go back onto them. That's giving them that minus 40% melee attack. Quite reducing their fighting abilities from a normally really strong unit to something a little bit weaker. I'm tempted to try and rear flank. We were very lucky that the enemy cavalry was AFK. I mean, it's a bit of a poor win in some sense, because, you know, we've won. If that cavalry had been there, I wouldn't have been able to do what Javelins do best in this sort of situation and get away with it. So all in all, how do I feel about these guys? I think they're pretty good. The range is really nice. Kind of makes them really nice and playable, really easy to use. And of course that means we can get out quite a good damage output, you know, 3,300 aggression. So we're getting through cap points now as well, which is nice. If that cavalry had been in the game, then I think that would have been different, because they'd have been able to catch me. In which case, I do feel that sometimes the dash might have been more useful than the hurl. Obviously, we weren't fighting off against anything else, such as any other javelins. Sometimes if we're fighting other javelins, the ability to have that hurl is actually really useful, because I can sit behind my line, sit further back from the enemy javelins, activate hurl, and outrange them when all they can do is try and advance upon me. And you can see how devastating a volley from javelins is. So the ability to do that can actually be really quite useful. So yeah, I think they're actually a pretty solid unit all round. I would have probably kept the dash over the hurl, but the hurl is still a pretty useful ability. And that's pretty much all there is to say about them. Very similar to the Tetra units, just a little bit longer range, but slightly less damage potential. And yeah, swapping a hurl for a dash. So hopefully that's an informative video, gives you a little bit of information about them. I was playing these guys quite a lot last night. That was my 500 times victory for the day. I should have probably used that on another unit really, rather than on a premium, but there we go. So yes, if this is a sort of a slightly informative video, hopefully you've enjoyed these. This should be the third of sort of the Versatility pack review. We're doing one each day. If this has sort of been like a useful sort of bundle review, then let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel for lots more Total Arena content, and thanks guys, I shall see you all on the next video.